Tyler from Aspire Sports. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 running backs that I believe are currently being overvalued in fantasy football. Now, I need to make this very clear. Very clear. These are guys that it's not that I don't like them. Just where they're currently being drafted, I don't like that. If they fall a little bit later, then sure, I can totally get behind that. But currently where they're being drafted, no thanks. So ADP does change as we get closer to the draft season. A lot more people are doing mock drafts then. So things can definitely change. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest videos. And this might get a little bit of hate because some people may not like who I say, but hear me out. Let me at least give you my reasons. If you don't like it, let me know down in the comments below who you think maybe I missed, or maybe you think I'm wrong about somebody. Let me know. With that being said, let's get into the video. The first running back that I'm going to talk about, and this might get a little bit of hate, but it's going to be Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry last year finished as RB number 1, absolute stud. And it's not that I don't like Derrick Henry. I feel like I got to repeat myself a lot. We're saying this. It's not that I don't like Derrick Henry. It's just I don't like his current ADP of being drafted as RB number 3. Me personally, I'd rather take him in like the 6 range. Honestly, I'd rather have Zeke over Derrick Henry right now. That's how I feel. It's not that I don't like Derrick Henry, once again, but I just don't like his current ADP. Last year finished as RB number 1, complete stud. The year prior, he finished inside the top 5. Yes, RB number 2 in standard scoring. If we go back and look at the past decade, of all the running backs who have finished as RB number 1, and who has repeated that, there's only been one running back who has repeated that title, and that was Todd Gurley. Now let's go a step further. Of all the running backs who have finished as RB number 1, the following season, only 2 running backs have finished inside the top 5 the following season. Obviously Todd Gurley, because he repeated RB number 1 twice, and then Ray Rice did it back in 2011 where he finished as RB number 1. 2012 he finished as RB number 5. So only 2 running backs have been able to finish inside the top 5 after finishing as RB number 1. Now let's go a step further and let's look at his workload. His workload the past 2 seasons has had over 300 rushing attempts. This past year has had over 400 plus touches, including the postseason. So that's a massive workload. If we go back the past decade and look at of all the running backs who have had over 300 total rushing attempts, who have done it in consecutive seasons, there's been 4 running backs who have done it in consecutive seasons. Those running backs are Derrick Henry, LaShawn McCoy, Marshawn Lynch, and Ezekiel Elliott. Those are the only running backs to have 300 total rushing attempts in consecutive seasons. Nobody has done it 3 seasons in a row. Could Derrick Henry be the first running back to do it for 3 seasons in a row? Possibly. Now, why is this important? It's important because Derrick Henry gets his value from the rushing attempts. I mean, obviously all running backs do, but especially Derrick Henry, where this is his bread and butter. He doesn't get much receiving work, really none. And yes, I know you had Mike Vrabel come out and say he wants to get him more involved in the receiving game. I don't believe that for one bit. Maybe they might throw him an extra target here or there, but really I don't see it happening. He's going to be just what he's been the past couple of seasons. And he's been electric. But does he get over that 300 mark again? I definitely think he's going to get close. I don't think he's going to get what he did this season. So for that reason, I think it's going to be a little bit of a smaller workload than what he's had these past 2 seasons, just because history has a tendency of repeating itself. So if he loses some rushing work, not to anybody else, just doesn't get as much as he has been, then he loses value. For me, that's why I'd rather have him take him a little bit later than what he's going, which he's really not going to fall that late. So I'm probably not going to take him that much. But Derrick Henry is the first person I want to talk about. Now let's go to the second person I want to talk about. The second player that I want to talk about is going to be Josh Jacobs. Now, for me, this offseason for the Raiders has just been, they've really been addressing their defense especially, but then they got rid of a couple of offensive linemen. Gabe Jackson, Rodney Hudson. I don't care what people say. Rodney Hudson, obviously, for me, is the best center in the league. Now, sure, his contract wasn't the best for the Raiders and he's getting older, but he's the best center. So you lose 2 good starting linemen. I honestly think they lost a couple other, or maybe another starting lineman as well. So you have all that. Now, Josh Jacobs, you have Kenyon Drake come in here and is getting paid 2 years, $11 million. Kenyon Drake isn't like this receiving back, okay? Sure, he can catch the ball in the backfield decently well, but like a lot of people say, oh, he's going to be the Devontae Booker. Kenyon Drake is much, much better than Devontae Booker. I'm sorry to Devontae Booker, but Kenyon Drake is much better than Devontae Booker. So if you think that Kenyon Drake's just going to come in here and kind of be like, you know, see what the Devontae Booker role last year, I don't believe that's going to happen. I honestly think this is going to be a closer to 50-50 split than what people expect with Kenyon Drake, where this team just wants to really run the football. And for that reason, he's being drafted, Josh Jacobs. He's currently being drafted as a borderline back-end RB number 1. Currently being drafted as RB number 14. Like, I'd rather take other guys in this range than him. Like, I'd rather even take Najee Harris, Clyde Edwards-Helaire over him, J.K. Dobbins. Honestly, like, for me, Josh Jacobs is closer to 20, RB number 20, than he is to RB number 10. So for that reason, that's why I'm not as high as on Josh Jacobs as other people are, just because of what this offseason has showed for this team. So for those reasons, I'd rather let somebody else take Josh Jacobs, unless he falls. Obviously, you want value. So Josh Jacobs, the second person I want to talk about. The next running back that I'm going to talk about is going to be DAndre Swift. And this is also somebody that I feel like I'm going to get a little bit of hate for, just because everybody loves DAndre Swift. He's a sexy name. And don't get me wrong, once again, I love the talent. Love the talent. I hate the situation. Absolutely hate the situation. I've said this before. I think Detroit's going to be the worst team in the league, depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson. If he doesn't play, then sure, Houston might be the worst team in the league. If not, Detroit's going to be right there. They have a terrible defense. Awful defense, so negative game scripts for your running back. They're really going to have a terrible offense. I mean, Jared Goff, and he really has nobody to throw the ball to except TJ Hawkinson. This offense is bad, okay? On top of a bad defense, it's not a recipe for success. And then you have Jamal Williams coming in here, right? You have Jamal Williams being signed, and they've already praised Jamal Williams so much. They've already said that he's basically can be a 3-down back. To me, all those factors, I'd rather have somebody else take their shot with DAndre Swift, because I'd rather have other guys in this range that I think are going to see more workload and play in a better team. Najee Harris, he's going to be the absolute bell cow on his team. Clyde Edwards-Helaire plays on a good team, so he's going to have good situations. Even Miles Sanders last year with Jalen Hurts was pretty good with Jalen Hurts. J.K. Dobbins, yeah. Like, all these guys I'd rather have over DAndre Swift. It's not that I don't like DAndre Swift. I love his talent. And if he falls a little bit, then sure, I wouldn't mind taking him there. But right now, where he's currently being drafted, no thank you. It's more because people believe in this hype, what his potential could be, and his potential is absolutely through the ceiling. But I think it's going to take another year. It's going to take another year for this team to get a little bit better, then he'll be really good. So for this year, I don't like him that much. That's why he's on this list for me. So DAndre Swift, the third running back. Last two running backs that I want to talk about, or I'm kind of lumping them together because of their current situation, is going to be Melvin Gordon and James Robinson. Now, if we look at their current ADP, once again, make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on all the latest videos, because you're going to have some of this change as we get closer to the draft season. But right now, James Robinson, and as you can see on CBS, is currently being drafted as RB number 33, but is 22 just because of these other sites. So I'd imagine he's probably going to fall down a little bit here, but we'll see as we get closer to the draft season. And then Melvin Gordon currently right here. Just these two guys I really have no interest in. The only way that, for me, Melvin Gordon is going to provide value is if Javonte Williams is hurt. James Robinson is going to need Carlos Hyde. I think I wasn't too worried about Carlos Hyde, that signing. But Travis Etienne in the first round, and then you have Urban Meyer say he's going to be the third down back. I don't believe that at all. I'm sorry. I don't believe that at all. Travis Etienne is a very, very good running back. Some of them thought he was the best running back in this draft class. So you don't just draft him and just have him play third down. I think as the season progresses, he'll be more and more implemented into this offense. And then Melvin Gordon, I think the same thing. Honestly, I think sooner than later, Javonte Williams is going to kind of take that lead role and be the guy. And then Melvin Gordon's going to kind of complement him. That's just how I feel about the situation. So I'd rather have other guys going in this range. Like Myles Gaskin right now is going in this range. Absolutely, sign me up. I'd rather take him. Mike Davis is going in that range for sure. So these are guys that I would rather have over both of these guys. Kareem Hunt for sure as well. So like all these guys go in this range, I'd rather have these guys over these two just because of their current situations. So that does it. If you disagree with anybody that I said, let me know down in the comments below. There will be more videos coming this week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. to make sure these videos will help you win your leagues. I'm telling you. So thank you for watching the video and have a great day.